Okay, so I finished Mistborn before the end of 2025, and this was my first Brandon Sanderson book, so let's talk about my initial thoughts. So I guess the first thing that comes to mind that kind of like leads to everything else is a question, like, how has this not been adapted? The fight scenes were very vibrant in my mind when I was reading, and so it kind of felt like, in my personal opinion, when I look at this overall book, if Bridgerton met like the Krakoa era X-Men. The story also has the politics of the prequel era Star Wars with frankly better written love dialogue. And honestly, like, I can see why Brandon continued. Mistborn was initially supposed to be a standalone book, but it wasn't just the fact that he created a world that opened up like a lot of questions at the end. He's probably one of the few who started asking the question that everyone is asking now with stories like Freewind Beyond Journey's End, or the sequel trilogy of Star Wars, or the comics after The Last Airbender ended. And that question is, what happens once the big bad evil guy has been defeated? There is a slight ride off into the sunset, but the way the politics are set up in this book, it's not business as usual, which is why I had to continue. Like, things were changing drastically, especially since the ska and characters like Ellen Venture are stand-ins for like American slavery and abolitionists, and the question is asked, what do you do when the slaves are free? Hopefully not Jim Crow. That is never the answer. I will say this book made me really look at our current political standing, and much like so many other great writers, Sanderson was trying to say something about governmental power even in 2006. And unfortunately, with how our president is currently suggesting the hunger, I mean the Patriot Games, clearly the people in power don't read. There clearly isn't one focused character, which is the great thing about writing in third person omniscient, but Vin's journey from street urchin to nobleman assassin is probably the best Aladdin retellings I've seen in a very long time. Because we go on a journey with her from someone distrusting of everyone to understanding the lesson that Kelsier was trying to teach her about friendship and love. Nobody's perfect, but we all do our best for the people we love. And then, unless I missed it, I don't think they explained when Vin exactly snapped, but I'm assuming that was when her mama killed her baby sister. Somehow she was untouched and sitting on her mama's lap. Like, damn. Kelsier is one smart protagonist, and I love how Sanderson balances his sensibilities of being a jovial crew leader to being a hardy anarchist ready to risk it all for the possibility of a world he knew he wasn't going to see. But then I answer my question with why it's not adapted when I get to the Lord Ruler. I think that's the reason why it's not. The big twist at the ending and all the evidence that leads up to that big twist would be hard to portray on TV or movies, at least live action wise anyway. You could probably pull it off easier with animation, but each chapter has a line from the hero's journal as the Prophesy One rises to the challenge of saving the world. And if you know the end of the book, then you know why it may be hard to keep that twist under wraps at the end, because most adaptations would show the young hero on his journey to saving the world and use a voiceover, and it would probably raise questions once we actually get to see who's playing the Lord Ruler. Yes, the book came out in 2006. No, I'm not spoiling it for you. I believe non-readers who see the adaptation shouldn't have that spoiled for them, much like Harry Potter did with most of its twist endings. Honestly, it sucks having other books on my TBR because I want to jump right into the next one, but I need to keep going down my list or I'll end up reading all those Sanderson's books in the Cosmere, which I hear is pretty expensive. I actually plan on spending this year doing less doom scrolling and spending more time reading, so we'll see how that goes. Also, I need to start taking notes when I read books because I had a lot more to say that I can't always think of right off the top of my head, but I can't bring myself into annotating books unless it's the Bible. Have no problem annotating my Bible. But when I do read Well of Ascension, which I'm super curious about, I will have a better review for you all because I'll take notes on the side. I took notes when I read the Kiyoshi novels and the Yang Chen novels, so I'm not entirely sure why I didn't with this one because this boy is thick.